What's happening, friends? Welcome back here to Off the Top Rope, Off the Mic Sports Network. Uh, so we just passed the 6-year anniversary of AEW Dynamite, the best year ever for AEW Dynamite and AEW as a whole. And I saw actually a couple podcasters say why I think AEW is going to surpass WWE. And the first thing they cite is ticket prices. Listen, I'm going to be the first to tell you guys, 2025 professional wrestling sucks. I've said that multiple times this year. But AEW having the audacity, the gall to say that they are having the best year that they've ever had when there is not a single metric that backs that up factually. And let me give you another example here. AEW, lowest audience, lowest 18 to 49 demo in the history of the show for their 6-year anniversary. 465,000 viewers, a 0.09 in the 18 to 49 demo. That is not good. The reason why that number dipped below 500,000 is because Major League Baseball had game twos in their wild card round, including the Cubs, including the Yankees, including the Dodgers, playing all within that window of what was going on. I mean, the Cubs might have ended right around the time that Dynamite started or before. But, you know, this is a problem. When you have an anniversary show that you're celebrating and you can't at least peel away viewers away from baseball. Because here's the other thing about, factoring in viewership, and I don't know how this works with, like YouTube TV and streaming and, people doing stuff on their computers and having multiple screens. People have the ability to watch multiple things at the same time. They do. That's just factual information. The ability to stream and have multi-boxes with YouTube TV, I don't know how this factors into, the rating set, but if you're a fan of, let's say, the Yankees and you're also an AEW fan, you should obviously have the ability to watch both at the same time or have a quad box or whatever. Some people don't want to watch one thing at the same time or whatever. The point here is the fact that they had so many people pulled away from them to not be able to establish a bigger audience, that you're not going to have a big dip like this, is one of the big reasons why I think AEW is never going to catch WWE. It's never going to happen. They had their window 4 years ago when they had CM Punk and Bryan Danielson in the same company at the same time. And Vince McMahon was still running creative in WWE. If you think that WWE is ever going to be caught by AEW, you are delusional. And I've seen a couple of podcasters recently even float that out there. If your rationale behind that is because TKO is charging you up the ass, nobody cares because they are still drawing people. Yeah, the crowds are getting diminished because storylines suck and the prices are way out of whack. But it's not mattering because WWE is still the known entity. And when you're trumpeting out that this is your 6-year anniversary and it's the best year that you've ever had, and it's where the best wrestle, when you continue to trot out storylines for your world champion that are not very well thought out, your women's champion that are not really well thought out, you're dragging Mercedes Moné past Jade Cargill just for pettiness, and nothing is really hitting as an audience, and then you get below 0.10 in the 18 to 49, which is the most important demo, especially for a company that you sort of going to lean younger because of the sickos. To me, like I don't know how you could honestly, it's a new low for a company in what is their greatest year. These people are delusional and they keep saying all these things and people keep eating it up rather than addressing the issues. Like if you really wanted to compete, and on some level, I think that there is some level of an opportunity here for AEW to capitalize. Because yes, they are obviously way more affordable than what WWE is offering. If they actually cared about creative writing and they actually cared about telling more compelling stories, more people will watch their show. But part of this is also they have alienated some of their audience that gave them a chance. when WWE wasn't good, because they've gotten into this petty bullshit. The CM Punk stuff didn't land well. Cody leaving them, being the first defector to go back to WWE, and now he's the top guy in the other place. That doesn't look good. 6 years ago, when this show started, there was genuine excitement because it was something new. It was something different, and it was something original. But here we are 6 years later. One of the founding fathers is not there anymore. A couple of the other stars who were on the original show are not there anymore. You can go look that up. A guy who you brought out of retirement into wrestling again, he's in the other place now. And yeah, WWE is overcharging people, and their storylines and their creative have gotten stagnant. But that hasn't meant a goddamn thing, because AEW continues to decline. So until I see some tangible change in this place, and I don't from week to week, the more that you keep saying that AEW is having the best year ever and it's where the best wrestling, it's like great stuff, cool. But it's not leading to more people watching your show. So you can't be better than the other place. And when you're celebrating an anniversary like you are, and you have all these high-priced talent, and you have all these ex-WWE people, it's not changing the fact that you're sinking. And now you're going head-to-head with NXT next week. NXT is doing an invasion, and some people are mocking that they changed the name Invasion. Guys, there was some political stuff that factored into that, okay? I'm not going to get into it here. It may be dumb to you, but I understand it, and it's just the way that our culture works. People are going to get pissed off, and then it's a very reactionary thing when it comes to social media, and they made the change. Do I like how some of this TNA and NXT stuff has been executed? No. And some of this may be just, pulling ratings, because they're going to potentially use some main roster stars. TNA being there has definitely been a draw. There might be a hook in here that TNA might end up ultimately getting a television deal announced, and maybe it is on the CW. And that's a whole other separate issue for NXT. But AEW is not even trying with this Title Tuesday show that they're doing from Jacksonville, which has some meaning to them, going up against this Invasion show, or this Showdown show, whatever they're calling it now. And to me, when there's no effort being shown, and yet you keep just saying all the right things, that's, like I said, it's just sicko behavior. The only people that are left are the people who don't want to try with WWE anymore. And listen, I understand that that's the case, but if you're going to be here and tell me, honestly, and like I said, I've seen actual people say on their podcast, and believe me, I will respect people for the right to have their own opinion. But if you honestly believe that AEW is the best they've ever been, and you think that they have an opportunity to pass WWE just because of what TKO has done to WWE, and they've done a lot of harm to that business because they are trying to suck every penny out of all of us suckers, okay? And I'm guilty of it because I love professional wrestling, and there are a lot of people within WWE that still bring some excitement. And, hey, they've had a couple aces up their sleeve. AJ Lee coming back, CM Punk, one of my favorite performers that I've ever watched in all my years of watching wrestling. John Cena's final year. No matter how bad it's been, it's still John Cena's final year. What has AEW done this year that has been genuinely exciting or genuinely interesting? The Death Riders sucked. The Death Riders is a cancer to this company. And I respect Jon Moxley. I respect a lot of people within there. The finish that they had to All In Texas was fantastic. How have they paid that off? I think Hangman has carried himself as a character really well. The way they've booked him as a champion has been terrible. They went back to a rematch with Jon Moxley. They've done MJF, which was way too soon, and they botched that with the whole contract stipulation. And then you've done Kyle Fletcher, who had no hope in hell of winning, who was already a champion, and like I said, no hope in hell of winning. And now you're doing Samoa Joe, another champion, because you have nothing else left, because a lot of your guys are injured, and also you just have no capabilities of telling any compelling stories. So, like I said, this is more indicative of the fact that AEW will not change despite having a potential advantage. Like, if you want to tell me with a straight face that AEW potentially has an opportunity and maybe a little bit of an advantage over WWE because of the prices and the stagnant creative, that's fine. But AEW has shown no, like, they've shown no, like, I'm trying to think of the right word, but they are not showing any urgency or any care to try and change what they're doing to capitalize on this possible opportunity that WWE and TKO are blessing them with. And you look at this rating, I understand that they had competition, but if you were a better product, you would have been able to hold a better number and you wouldn't be flagging behind NXT, a product with a bunch of NIL talents. And yes, some of your outcasts who are getting booked better. That's why you're in the spot that you're in. It's not the best year ever. This is a new low. And if they wanted to look at these numbers honestly and think, hey, what are we doing wrong? Instead, they keep saying all of this bullshit to please their sicko fans. And that's not going to help you in the long run. WWE is not good this year. What are you going to do about it? They've done nothing for 9 months. And now they're walking into a head-to-head battle with NXT, who they shouldn't be competing with, and are going to get boat raced. They're going to get boat raced on Tuesday night. Because not only that, they're going to have baseball going up against them again. And only one title match, which is an open challenge for Mercedes Moné's TBS title. That's all that's been announced at the time of this recording. Yet you fans and Tony Khan want to tell me that everything's great. 6 years, we're the best we've ever been. Bullshit. Bullshit. Prove me wrong. I want to see AEW. Despite all the negativity that I put on this channel, I want AEW to do well because there's a lot of people that I like there. I just think that the person running the show is completely and utterly inept. They have every advantage that they could possibly have. 4 years ago, they had a chance, and they squandered that because they couldn't manage stuff backstage. And a bunch of those guys have gone to the other place. And now here you are 4 years later, you're trying to convince me, but you haven't shown me. Show me before the end of the year that maybe you can capitalize on this momentum. But there's no chance of you ever catching WWE ever. It's never happening. Anyway, thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you guys. Bye-bye.